A news hour tonight. Parts of northern Nigeria crippled by long power supply outage. Pengassin denies signing communique suspending strike action. Bandits seize policemen's phones, abduct councillors, cleric in Gusau. And on the foreign scene, 2 killed at violence flares during Morocco demonstration. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, across northern Nigeria, months of unstable and unreliable power supply have crippled businesses and livelihoods. In states like Katsina, Kano and Kaduna, most communities are left in darkness while only a few on high-tension lines enjoy steady electricity. The outage and low voltage have damaged appliances, shut down workshops, and forced thousands to struggle with the new normal. The report.
From bakeries to welding shops, and from small corner stores to larger factories, power-dependent businesses are folding up. Even when electricity comes, the voltage is too weak to run machines or power basic equipment. Many owners have turned to costly alternatives like solar or generators just to stay afloat.
Honestly speaking, the erratic power supply is quite worrisome because it has been persistent, and you know the importance of power in our daily activities. By extension, it has led to reduction in economic activities, especially the small businesses that take place, especially among the people. We talk of barbing, we talk of tailoring, we talk of all this, grinding, and so on and so forth. And there are many calls from different quarters calling on those responsible for the improvement in the power supply. But I can say there is no much improvement as far as this supply is concerned. Actually, as a resident of Katsina local government, I want to tell you that we have a very, very terrible experience. There is acute shortage of power supply in our area in Katsina local government. I want to tell you, as you are speaking with me now, our area spent more than 6 days without light. Only it was brought yesterday. And this has been the consistent experience we are having in Katsina local government. And then generally we understand that the performance of KEDCO, that is Kano Distribution Company of Nigeria, is one of the worst among all other distribution companies we are having in Nigeria. KEDCO is taking care of Kano, Katsina and Jigawa State. And I want to believe that they are not doing anything good and their performance is very poor. There is need for people, the stakeholders, to intervene in this particular distribution company. Taking into consideration, you cannot lay a complaint to them, a common where they cannot solve a problem of it. Every single people or members of the community have to provide their problems and have to solve their problems by themselves. So actually the issue of power supply in Katsina local government, particularly in the area where I reside, is terrible, and we hope that there is going to be a significant improvement as soon as possible.
How does that affect the social and economic lives of the people?
You see, obviously it has crippled economic activities around the area, more especially at micro and small scale levels, because this power is what our women at home are using to use their refrigerators, to do some businesses of ice block selling, and other drinks. And also the people that are the welders, those that are doing the business of welder, they so much consider that as one of the source of earning their day-to-day income. If it's not there, they cannot be able to do. You find out that this acute shortage of power is greatly affecting the issue of small and medium scale businesses.
Frustrated voices of business owners capture the losses and hardship they face daily. The impact goes beyond shops. Government offices and private institutions are also running an alternative power. For many in Katsina, survival has become about improvisation, not growth. When contacted, the Katsina Regional Manager of KEDCO, Aminu Ibrahim Bakori, declined to speak, asking Trust TV to write to the headquarters for clearance before granting interviews. In Kano, the story varies. Many homes across the city live with epileptic supply. But some businesses linked to the 33 kVA line enjoy relative stability. Ice block producer Simon Ismail at Farm Center says his supply has been steady.
Kamar mu da muke amfani da wutar 33 a kan Farm Center feeder ta CBN.
Here in Farm Center Kano, we are on the 33 kVA line from CBN feeder. Our business is ice blocks, pure water and yogurt. Most times, we enjoy steady electricity up to 22 hours a day. And whenever there is no light, it's usually for a good reason like repairs. So honestly, we are thankful.
In Kaduna, epileptic electricity supply has caused untold difficulties for communities across the metropolis and its environs. Residents say frequent cuts have led to a shortage of water, as boreholes can't function without power. For many, this is on top of weeks of limited or no electricity, leaving businesses grounded and everyday lives severely disrupted.
We
have been experiencing poor electricity supply. Recently, we heard that the cable line developed a fault at Rigasa, which is why we spent about 2 weeks without electricity. To be honest, we are facing difficulties accessing water from the boreholes. We are forced to fetch water from the river instead. We went without electricity for about 2 weeks, and small businesses are still incurring losses due to lack of power supply.
Across the region, unreliable supply has become the bane of Nigeria's economy. Power generation companies, while commending government efforts to stabilize the market, warn that the sector is under enormous financial and operational pressure. They caution that without urgent reforms, the system could collapse further with grave implications for development, stability, and investor confidence.
Now, the Niger state government has warned residents living along the River Niger and River Kaduna to relocate to safer areas following the release of water from major hydro dams in the state. The Niger State Emergency Management Agency issued the warning on Thursday in a statement signed by its Director General Abdullahi Baba Ara. He explained that the development was due to the ongoing discharge of water from the Kainji, Shiroro, Zungeru and Jaba hydroelectric dams. According to him, the dams are releasing thousands of gallons of water per minute, which could trigger river overflow and widespread flooding in surrounding communities. Babara further urged residents to avoid standing under trees during rainfall and to stay away from substandard structures, citing fresh warnings from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. The paramount ruler of Kwande and chairman of the local government traditional council, Timothy Ayile Takwande, has demanded the immediate withdrawal of Nigerian army troops from Kwande local government area following the killing of mourners in Jato Aka. The monarch, visibly shaken, visited Jato Aka in Turan on October 1st, a day after attending the burial of the late Otazaki Haneve Laha. His visit coincided with the reports that several students and other mourners were gunned down while returning from the deceased resident in Nzav. Speaking during the visit, Takwande, alongside the vice chairman of Kwande local government area, Rita Sonda Ayoto, who represented the council chairman, and Aloko Nachi, the national president of the Kwande United People Organization, strongly condemned the killings. He denounced what he described as the unprofessional and brutal conduct of the soldiers deployed to the area. On his part, Nachi vowed that KWUPO would seek justice for the victims, including through legal actions against the army and the soldiers responsible. Now, 65 years after independence, Nigeria's solid mineral sector remains in decline. Once a backbone of the economy, the industry has failed to recover from decades of neglect despite repeated promises from the government. Ado Musa reports.
Before crude oil took over in the late 1950s and 1960s, minerals like coal, tin,
zinc, and columbite sustain Nigeria's economy. Shortly after independence, solid minerals contributed nearly 50% of GDP. The picture is very different. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, in 2024, the mining and quarrying sector, including solid minerals, contributed just 5.64% to GDP.
So most of these resources are located in remote areas. These deposits have been occupied by terrorists, and efforts to fish them out or eradicate them has proved abortive. So no investor will want to go and invest that kind of huge amount of money. As you know, mining is a very capital project and huge investment.
What we are lacking here generally is the law and the implementation. When the formulation, if I say the law, formulation of the law, the stakeholders, they are not involved in the lawmaking. That is first. Then the implementation. Also, the implementation must be with the stakeholders.
Experts say years of neglect, weak policies, and poor investment left the sector stagnant. Government after government has tried to revive it, but with little success. The current Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has set an ambiguous target of raising the sector's contribution to 50% of GDP. But stakeholders say this target is unrealistic without urgent reforms.
Introducing EFCC, DSS, and other security agencies to torture miners. Some of them are taking advantage, extorting miners exorbitantly, which is not good. So, and also even the abrupt increase in the licensing fee and royalty rates.
Multiple taxation, multiple in all agencies. You see agencies, ministries, state government, federal government, local government, and other agencies. Everybody is for tax. Everybody is for tax. For now, I don't think there is any sector spend multiple taxation more than the mining sector.
At the community level, mining has brought its own problems. In Gurum, Plateau State, residents say underage children are increasingly drawn into artisanal mining, raising fresh social and safety concerns.
My fear is this: if the whole thing finish, there is no school, no handwork, then a child will be, and he's used to the, to spending of that kind of money. So before you know it, you will be involved into like some criminal activity, stealing.
Stakeholders argue that the way forward lies in the consistent policies, investment in modern technology, and stronger regulation to end illegal practices.
Boko Haram existing in Nigeria, we'll be having bandits, we'll be having issue of kidnapping, and some of these people are being romanced. So the government have to come out and fight them, deploy military troops to these areas where these bandits are being occupying.
What next we want when we have synergy with the state government and the federal government, with the Chinese? Let them, what they are doing in their town, in their countries, let them do it in our country. So we advance. Now they are buying the raw material. Let them do the end material here.
As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, the question remains, can solid minerals once again become a pillar of the economy, or will the country continue to rely almost entirely on crude oil? Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasen, has denied signing the communique that reportedly ended its recent nationwide strike over its dispute with Dangote Refinery, insisting that its core concerns remained unresolved. The strike, which disrupted operations across the oil and gas sector, was allegedly suspended on Wednesday after government's intervention. However, Pengason's president, Festus Osifo, clarified that the document presented during the Abuja meeting was not a binding agreement. According to him, the statement released after the talks was merely a communication from the Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammad Dingyadi, who served as chief conciliator. Osifo stressed that Pengason's focus was not union dues, as some reports suggested, but the reinstatement of sacked workers. The union leader maintained that Pengason's position was clear: take the people back to the refinery. Now, the emergence of private institutions in the 2000s provided alternative to the public school system, broadening options for basic education in Nigeria. Against this backdrop, Nigerians in Bauchi State shared their experience on the journey so far for Nigeria's fledgling education system. The report.
Nigeria of independence, oh freedom, freedom, oh freedom, freedom.
Every year on October 1st, Nigerians celebrate the country's independence, a day to reflect on the nation's struggles, achievements, and the legacy of its founding leaders. In Bauchi, this year's celebration was marked by renewed hope and patriotic prayers from pupils of primary and secondary schools, alongside other visitors from across the country.
A great day to our country, Nigeria, because independence is not a common day to Nigerians. Independence is a day of appreciation, is a day of celebration. And I wish youth and young Nigerians, we should stand on our feet to see that we continuously move Nigeria for a better nation. We should be a better children of Nigeria for a better nation.
The youth, the women have taken 75% out of 100%. So the only 55% is being considered by the elders. The elders are the ones that have to show us the way. So we have given them that respect, the due respect, and we're committed to them. Then the youth, we are committed to make sure that Nigeria remains as one.
Many visitors joined the children in celebrating while paying tribute to the late Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, describing him as a leader worthy of emulation.
I wish everybody will come to this place on today, the 1st October, to come and see the brief history of our late grandfather. It was so amazing.
We come here to learn to hear some bravery history from our late Prime Minister, President Abubakar Tafawa Balewa.
It's a small day job. It was a very long period era, and Nigeria have achieved a lot of things. Talking of infrastructure, education, good innovation from the citizen, and alhamdulillah, we are still along the line. One day we are going to be more developed.
They express hope that Nigeria will continue to remain united and that citizens will embrace peace, tolerance, and hard work for the nation's progress. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now in politics, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has dismissed reports suggesting that he intends to step down for another presidential aspirant ahead of the 2027 elections. In a statement issued on Thursday by his media advisor Paul Ibe, Atiku described such claims as a misrepresentation of his recent interview with the BBC Hausa service. Ibe explained that a careful review of both the video and transcript of the interview showed that Atiku never suggested or implied that he intends to step down for anyone. Atiku, in an interview with BBC Hausa, said he will withdraw from the 2027 presidential race if a younger aspirant defeats him to clinch the African Democratic Congress presidential ticket. The former vice president also noted that he will support and mentor such a candidate. Now, residents of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have expressed concerns over the high cost of Mumuye yam despite its availability. They stated this when Trust TV visited the Jalingo main market to find out why prices remain high despite reports of a bumper harvest this season. The report.
Taraba State is one of the states in the country producing the large quantity of yam every year. It has two periods of productions. The Mumuye yam, which people prefer than TV yam, planted in the northern part of the state, harvested from August to November, while the TV yam planted in the southern part of the state from November to March every year, and also brought to the market in large quantity, making the produce more available in the market and cheap. However, despite the availability of the yam this year than the previous years, Custom expressed dissatisfaction over the hike of the prices, stresses that the yam is available but the dealers refuse to reduce the price. Rather, they increase it, almost doubling the previous year's prices. Some customers expressed that the yam they bought last year at 1,000 naira is now almost 20 to 25,000 naira.
I don't blame them also. It depends on economic realities. You know, economic reality. Even they too, they want to make profits. That's why maybe they're increasing the price like this, but they should consider the masses. What we bought 5,000 naira last year is now 13,000 naira this year. So the price has increased drastically.
My name is Mary Matthew. People are saying that yam prices are now cheaper, but that is not true. Although yam is available, but it is still too expensive. The masses are suffering. The government should please help us. Almost all the roads are damaged and the authorities are not paying attention to the situation.
The chairman, yam seller Jalingo Main Market, and some dealers state that, of course, the quantity of yam harvested this year is more than that of last year, but the cost of transportation due to the increase in fuel price, bad road, network and multiple taxations are some of the reasons why the prices is increased this year.
I'm the chairman of the Yam Seller Association, Jalingo Main Market. Yam is available, but it's too costly because of the high cost of transportation. The only way to solve this problem is for the government to address unnecessary taxes imposed by some agencies and unions. Bringing back the subsidy would make the produce cheaper and more affordable.
However, some marketers said the price is cheaper compared to last 6 to 7 months back, when a single yam that can be sold now at 1,000 naira was sold at the rate of 1,500 naira.
We want the government to help us by reducing transportation costs. This is a period for Mamuye yam, which lasts until around December or January. By October, the TV yam will be available in the market. The Mamuye yam is brought from Meka, Yoro, Zinc, Apawa, Muniki, Kasa. Meka produces a large quantity of the yam than anywhere else. Every truck usually go there to load the yams and transport them to different parts of the country.
The motorists that transport the produce from the farm to the market stated that they are facing a lot of challenges ranging from bad roads, network, increase in fuel price to the multiple taxation among other challenges. Hence, to increase the transportation fee so as to meet up with their expensive and be able to gain a little out of their businesses.
I'm a driver. I transport yam from Nyaja Road to Yoro. Of course, yam is available now, but getting to the main market is a real problem. There are no good roads. Sometimes we have to pay villagers to help us push our vehicles before we can pass. I must give them something in return. Many bridges are broken. We are calling on the government to come to our aid.
The dealers and motorists call on the government to look at the situation, which is making almost everything unaffordable to the masses, and also to bring back the soil subsidy as well as the unnecessary collection of the taxes for the betterment of the citizens.
Despite claims by the federal government that food inflation is on a downward trend, market surveys across major cities in the country indicate that the prices of essential food items remain high. Trust TV's Aisha Abdulmiminu spoke with some traders and residents of FCT who admitted that despite slight reduction in some prices, the overall impact is nothing to write home about. The report.
The persistent rise in food prices continue to weigh heavily on Nigerians,
While some traders say the cost of items such as rice and pepper has reduced compared to previous months, many argue that the drop is not significant enough to ease the pressure on consumers. For instance, a bag of rice which sold for 90,000 some months ago now goes for about 60,000 naira, while a plate of pepper that once sold for 1,500 now sells for 500 naira. Some traders attribute the decline to seasonal price adjustments. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, food inflation slowed to 38.2% in June 2025, down from 40.66% in May, citing increased food supply and government interventions. The NBS statistics for October are even more promising, reporting a decrease of 15.65% points from August 2024. However, many traders and customers say the economic situation remains tough, affecting their livelihoods and purchasing power.
The food has reducing price now because like this pepper I'm selling now. Before we used to sell a plate 1,500, 2,000, and now we come to the 500. This green beans I'm holding now. Before we used to sell this type 1,500, 2,000, and now this one now we used to sell it 500, 1,000. So now the thing is better than before.
And now waiting cheap parts now only rice. Like some other things still cost. Like my fruit. I know talk about that because the fruit come from far place. Before it come here, transport. Now that transport be the problem. If they go feel airport, reduce fuel small for us. All these things go come down. Now that fuel problem. If the fuel reduce, everything go there okay.
But now like tomato not be in season with that. And but now that she pepper now in season with that. But tomato don't go like that. Now she make add money. Before then they buy it 5,000 like tomato. Now when she reach 8,000, for some places you can buy it 9,000.
In some Abuja markets, prices of certain commodities appear to be dropping, aligning with government's claim that the economy is gradually improving. But customers insist that despite the slight reduction in prices, their income has not increased, making it difficult to meet daily food needs.
Before, rice is about 90, 100, but now you can buy a bag of rice like 60 or 63, comparing like before. Like now, one mood of rice now is about 1.7, before 3.5. You don't say changes, it's still come down small now. It's getting better. The problem where they now one, the way money day before money no they enter people hand like that again, because let me say now, in a month they receive 50,000 naira, and to buy a bag of rice you don't say go hard you.
Because without food we can't live. We only sustain by food. Apart from God's grace, we only sustain by food. But if the government can do us good by bringing or go to the market and send a market surveyor to survey the market industry or whatever how it is, for them to compare if truly people are really going according to prices. Because you can go here, this person says, sell your own. Let me sell my own. But if you can stand on a particular price, it will be fair.
While some commend the government for what they describe as signs of improvement, others believe more concrete actions are needed to make life truly affordable for the average Nigerian. Aisha Abdulmominu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Governor Babagana Zulum has visited Difa region in Niger Republic to reinforce cross-border collaborations in the fight against insurgency around the Lake Chad. Governor Zulum was received in Difa by Brigadier General Mamadou Ibrahim Bagadoma and other senior Nigerian officials. At a closed-door meeting, both leaders discussed joint patrols, intelligence sharing, and consolidating recent gains against insurgents. Zulum also unveiled plans to leverage the improved security situation for the return of displaced farmers to fertile farmlands around Duche town in the Lake Chad Basin. He was accompanied by the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly, Abdul Karim Lawan, House of Representatives members, Bukal Talba, and other senior officials. Now, wives of Nigerian soldiers have pleaded to the President Bola Tinubu to grant presidential pardon to 30 of their husbands who are currently detained at a military facility in Maiduguri over alleged operational offenses. Speaking to journalists at the Nigeria Union of Journalists Center, the women pleaded with President Tinubu and military authorities to show compassion, especially in the spirit of Nigeria's independence, by pardoning their husbands whom they say they have not seen in over years. The spokesperson for the group, Rose Emmanuel, said the prolonged detention has caused them emotional trauma and financial hardship. She appealed to the president to extend the same amnesty given to repentant insurgents and bandits to their husbands so they can return to their constitutional duty of defending Nigeria's sovereignty.
The detained soldiers of the Nigerian Army currently held at the 7th Division Military Police Facility in Maiduguri, Borno State, are appealing for mercy. Many have spent months and years in detention over various offenses. They admit their mistakes, have reflected deeply, and now plead for forgiveness for a second chance to serve Nigeria. We humbly call on His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to grant them a presidential pardon. We also appeal to the National Assembly, the government of Borno State, and all Nigerians of goodwill to support this request.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, Lagos resident expressed concern over biting economy, seeks solutions. This and more when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that parts of northern Nigeria crippled by long power supply outage. And Pengasson denies signing communique suspending strike actions. Moving on, bandits on Wednesday night abducted 2 serving councillors and an Islamic cleric in Sauni community, Gusau local government area of Zamfara state, after seizing the phones of policemen stationed at a nearby outpost. The councillors, who represent Gidan Goga and Sibiri wards in Maradun local government area, were reportedly taken around 8:05 p.m. shortly after observing the Maghrib prayers. Chairman of Maradun local government, Sanusi Gama-Giwa, confirmed the incident, identifying the councillors as members of his council. He explained that the attackers were initially targeting an individual from Kaura village. Unable to find him, they abducted 6 men, later releasing 3, and went away with the councillors and the imam. Tauni, the scene of the abduction, has previously sheltered internally displaced persons fleeing attacks in neighboring villages, a fact that has heightened concern about the vulnerability of the area. Confirming the incident, the spokesperson of the Zamfara State Police Command, DSP Yazid Abubakar, said operatives had been deployed and rescue operations was underway. As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, many citizens are questioning what freedom has truly brought to them. Instead of relief, many say they are experiencing hardship amid rising inflation, unemployment, insecurity, and a soaring cost of living. According to them, despite 6.5 decades of sovereignty, the nation continues to battle economic instability, while the value of lower currency denomination has diminished, making daily transactions difficult. Some residents of Lagos who spoke to Trust Television urged national leaders to urgently tackle economic challenges and create more jobs opportunities for Nigerians. The report.
On October 1st, 2025, Nigeria celebrates 65 years of independence. But for many citizens, it is not a day of joy, but one of reflection on the country's struggle and the many unfulfilled promises of successive leaders. At 65, Nigeria's economy remains fragile, with millions of citizens struggling to afford basic necessities amid persistent inflation. Despite richly endowed with natural resources, the country continues to rely heavily on imported goods. The economic instability has not only impacted households, but has also weakened the nation's currency, particularly the lower denominations, which have lost significant value and are rarely used in daily transactions. Speaking to Trust Television, several Lagos residents expressed deep concern over the worsening economic situation, urging government authorities to take decisive action to stabilize the economy and restore the value of Naira.
Nigeria is 65 days and we want back our lower currency to move on our economy.
Nigeria government to encourage our children to have work, because if there's work in Nigeria, everybody will be all right. But there's no work, all the factory has closed down. And what are we expecting our children to reach in future? And they only ask us to send their children to school. They go to school. With the outcome of the school, they can stay 5-6 years after leaving college and university before they can see job. What are they expecting the parents to do?
So the advice I want to give our leaders, make them fear God. If they fear God, they will know how people they suffer for this Nigeria. So they will know how to control our money to get value and many things like that. So money is not stopped properly. Only one a day, two times a day. So this is very bad. Make our leader, make it fear God, make it know that people for Nigeria, they will suffer too much.
Unemployment and insecurity has also added to the nation's burden. Many graduates roam the streets without jobs. Those employed struggle with stagnant wages that can no longer match the rising cost of goods and services. The growing insecurity across parts of the country has further worsened the situation, forcing many to live in fear, displacement, or even loss of lives. For many Nigerians, migration abroad has become the only path to a better life.
Nigeria is 65. Our currency is very poor, very poor. You cannot use it for anything. So they have to adjust and see what they can do about our currency, so that when we go to the market, we can afford to buy things that we can eat, we used to eat and feed ourselves. You cannot get anything. 100 naira something you can get. You cannot use it and feed yourself. A baby of 2 years or 3 years, biscuit 10 naira or 100 naira, what can you feed that baby with? Nothing.
Nigeria at 65 now, but our currency is not useful. Our lower currency is no more irrelevant to us to use. That's what I don't know why. Because of the high inflation, things are very costly. So nothing can be bought with those low currency. I don't know what government can do to bring back the low currency to the useful useful to us.
At 65, but things is not yet balanced. At least the economic growth, insecurity in the country. You know, the economy is not friendly to all of us. We can tell ourselves the truth. So that's all I need to say. All I have to say is this: Nigeria should work hard to make the economy okay.
65, Nigeria's independence remains both a celebration and a challenge, a moment to look back at the nation's journey and, more importantly, to chart a new course for a more prosperous future.
Now, the debate over the creation of additional states in Nigeria has continued to generate mixed reactions across the country. Since independence in 1960, Nigeria has transitioned from a three-region structure to a federal system comprising 36 states, a change driven by political, economic, and social considerations. In Gombe State, residents, business owners, economists, and politicians remain divided on whether the state creation enhances development government or merely creates fresh challenges. Hassan Lawan Koli reports.
While some see it as pathway to development and closer governance, others argue it could further strain the nation's already stretched resources. Some residents believe the country should explore alternative strategies for development rather than continually creating new states.
The main issue is for the leaders to be honest and to be sincere in carrying out their duties. What we have as a problem in Nigeria is all about leadership. So if at all we can have leaders that can dedicate themselves, maybe leaders that can be compared with the leaders of the First Republic, I think we are good to go. But actually we have a lot of problems, maybe having leaders that will be honest enough to do the expected in terms of developmental project.
Jihar Borno ta ci gaba, sannan Najeriya ma ta ci gaba. Saboda ai yanzu muna mulkin farar hula ne. Kuma farar hula ya fi na soja ci gaba.
The southern regions, particularly oil-producing areas and commercial hubs like Lagos, are often viewed as more developed. However, some public analysts argue that northern states possess abundant agricultural resources capable of matching southern development.
The northern state can be able to cope up with this development in order to become the same with the southern part of the Nigeria when we focus more on agricultural products, because most of the northern Nigerians have a versatile land for farming. If we increase our productivity, our crop yield output, despite the fact that we don't have industries and other things, we must come up with the development exactly as that one we do have in the southern part of the country.
Many business owners believe that while creating new states could offer new markets, it may also lead to instability and duplication of administrative structures, ultimately benefiting only political office holders rather than ordinary citizens.
If you ask me, I will tell you that Nigerians, honestly, I cannot see any development in human resources. No, you can see new road, new houses, new government house, everything on ground, new. But in a human being cannot see change. So most 90% of Nigeria are suffering. Some are suffering here and there, especially we traders, we marketers. You're not inside market. You have seen we are here with you for past 1 hour. Nobody enter my shop and buy one or two things. They need something, but there's no money.
Economic experts caution that financial implications of creating more states will outweigh the potential benefit if not properly managed. They point to rising multidimensional poverty as a major concern.
The Nation Development Program came up with large measures of poverty that include education, health, and standard of living facilities. For education, they basically focus on school of enrollment, number of years spent in the school. For health, they basically focus on level of nutrition and child mortality. For standard of living measures, they took into consideration a number of factors such as availability of electricity, availability of water, sanitation facilities, and the rest.
Many Nigerians argue that continuous state creation has failed to address regional inequalities and has instead intensified competition for federal resources. They, however, believe that only good governance, not more state, can truly solve Nigerians' long-standing development challenges. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says 166 people died from Lassa fever between January and September 2025, with the case fatality rate now higher than in 2024. This was contained in an NCDC's official website on Thursday, stating that the report was for epidemiological week 37, covering September 8 to 14. The Public Health Agency said that 895 confirmed cases have been recorded across the 21 states and 106 local government areas. It said that this represents a This represents a case fatality rate of 18.5% compared to 16.9% reported within the same period in 2024. The agency noted that while suspected and confirmed cases were fewer than those reported last year, more patients are dying because of late presentation and poor health-seeking behavior, often linked to the high cost of treatment. According to NCDC, Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, Taraba and Ebonyi states continue to account for 90% of all confirmed cases, with Ondo alone responsible for a third of infections. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return shortly. Welcome back, and now move to business. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry (LCCI) has partnered the African Export-Import Bank (Afreximbank) to support the participation of Nigerian small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) at the Intra-African Trade Fair IATF 2025 held in Algiers, Algeria. This strategic collaboration aimed to provide Nigerians entrepreneurs with access to new markets, showcase their products, and forge cross-border partnership, ultimately driving intra-African trade, innovation, and sustainable economic growth. Speaking on the partnership, Director of AU-AFCFTA and International Relations at Afreximbank, Yusuf Daya, said it was a reflection of the bank's unwavering commitment to promoting intra-African trade, fostering export diversification, and driving private sector-led growth across the continent. The chamber is expected to play an even bigger role during the IATF 2027 by mobilizing the business community in Nigeria to collaborate on the trade fair planned to be held in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, away from Nigeria, demonstrations have convulsed Morocco for several days, urged on by the Gen Z 212 group, a recently formed collective based on the Discord web platform, whose organizers remain unknown. 2 people were killed when officers opened fire on a group of people attempting to storm a police station in Morocco on Wednesday, state media said, as protests sometimes violate the North African nation. Morocco's interior minister said on Wednesday that more than 400 people had been arrested and nearly 300 injured during the rallies, which are demanding reforms to the public health and education sector. A judicial investigation into the incident had been opened. Hundreds of protesters gathered on Wednesday in several Moroccan cities, including Casablanca, Tangier, and Tétouan. The rally were taking place with official authorization for the first time since their initial outbreak on Saturday. Now, President Alassane Ouattara has announced a record high farm gate price for cocoa, setting the cost at 2,800 CFA francs, an equivalent of 4.62 euros per kilogram for the upcoming main harvest ahead of presidential elections on October 25th, in which Mr. Ouattara is a candidate seeking a 4th term. In Ivory Coast, the world's leading cocoa producer, the government set a guaranteed purchase price for farmers, a system that insulates them from market volatility. The new price of 2,800 CFA francs represents a significant increase from the 2,200 CFA francs set for the mid-harvest in April, underscoring the dramatic surge in global cocoa markets throughout 2024. The announcement was met with enthusiasm from Ivorian producers who have long grappled with low returns. Another farmer, Belam Omaru, from the south, remarked that the new price means we can send our children to school and sleep peacefully, highlighting the direct impact on livelihoods. And now for sport updates, let's join Joseph Peter.
The Nigerian National League (NNL) has officially announced the registration timeline and requirements for clubs aiming to participate in the 2025-2026 season, which is scheduled to kick off on November 8, 2025. According to the NNL Secretariat, the registration portal will open on October 6 and close on the October 24th, giving clubs just over 2 weeks to complete all necessary formalities. Any club that fails to meet the deadline risks missing out on the upcoming campaign. To be eligible, clubs must fulfill several key conditions, including adhering to registration modalities, submission of transfer machine system TMS certificates for all registered and transferred players, valid medical certificates for all players and technical officials, and insurance certificates for registered players and officials. NNL Chief Operating Officer Mr. Dalami Alanana emphasized the importance of adhering strictly to the deadline, stressing that the league intends to follow its calendar without interruption. Alanana urging clubs to take the process seriously, stressing that the clubs have ample time to meet up the October 24 cutoff. In a bid to avoid administrative delays, the league body has also encouraged clubs to liaise with the NNL Secretary for guidance on the registration process in a move aimed at ensuring a smooth and compliant registration for all participating teams. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa from me and the crew. Thanks for watching and good night.